Have you ever wondered why certain things trigger you so deeply, even when they seem small? Or why you sometimes feel empty, unseen, or unworthy, no matter what you achieve? Those are whispers from your inner child, the part of you that still carries pain, fear, or unmet needs from years ago. This isn't about blaming the past. It's about understanding the present. Today, we're diving into 15 powerful signs that your inner child might be calling out for healing. And stick around, because at the end, we'll talk about the first beautiful steps you can take on this journey back to wholeness. Let's start with the emotional signs, the ones that show up quietly but speak volumes. The first sign is that you overreact to small issues. Maybe a friend cancels plans at the last minute, and you feel an overwhelming wave of rejection. Or perhaps someone forgets to text you back, and you spiral into anger or anxiety. This disproportionate reaction is often your inner child feeling abandoned or unsafe, saying, "See? I knew I couldn't count on anyone. I don't feel safe." It's not about the text. It's about a deep-seated fear of being left behind that was wired into you long ago. The second sign is that you constantly seek validation. You find yourself checking your phone for likes, refreshing your email for a word of praise from your boss, or changing your opinion just to fit in with a group. This isn't just about wanting to be liked. It's a desperate need for approval. It's the child inside you who felt they had to earn love, constantly looking outside for confirmation that they are good enough, worthy enough, and lovable enough. That external praise becomes a temporary fix for an internal wound. Sign number 3 is a persistent struggle with self-worth. You might accomplish great things, have loving friends, and a successful career, but deep down, there's a nagging voice that tells you you're not good enough, smart enough, or lovable enough. You might feel like a fraud, waiting to be exposed. This feeling doesn't come from your adult reality. It's an echo from a time when your inherent worth wasn't reflected back to you. It's the child who believed they were flawed or a burden. The fourth sign is that you suppress your emotions. Were you ever told to stop crying, toughen up, or that big kids don't get scared? If so, you might have learned that showing your feelings was a sign of weakness or that it made others uncomfortable. As an adult, this can manifest as emotional numbness, an inability to cry, or a tendency to intellectualize your feelings instead of actually feeling them. You might say, "I'm fine," when you're really falling apart, because your inner child learned that vulnerability was dangerous. Fifth, and this one is huge, you have a deep-seated fear of abandonment. This can show up in two opposite ways. You might be a clinger, holding on so tightly to relationships that you suffocate them, terrified that any space will lead to them leaving. Or you might be a pusher, sabotaging relationships and pushing people away before they have a chance to leave you. It's a preemptive strike to avoid the pain of being left. Both come from the same root, a child who felt the terrifying insecurity of potential abandonment. Now, let's move into the behavioral signs, the habits that keep repeating, often without you even realizing why. The sixth sign is people-pleasing. You say yes when every part of you is screaming no. You go above and beyond for others, often at your own expense, just to avoid conflict, disapproval, or rejection. This is the behavior of a child who learned that their needs were secondary and that keeping the peace was their responsibility. You became a chameleon, adapting to everyone else's needs to ensure you remain loved and accepted. Sign number 7 is self-sabotage. Does this sound familiar? You get the dream job and you start showing up late. You meet a wonderful partner and you start picking fights. Every time things start going well, you unconsciously pull the rug out from under yourself. This is often because your inner child doesn't believe they deserve happiness or success. A life of struggle feels familiar and therefore safe, while joy and ease feel foreign and untrustworthy. You're protecting yourself from a bigger fall by never letting yourself fly too high. The eighth sign is a relentless chase for perfection. You believe that love, approval, and safety must be earned through flawless achievement. You're your own harshest critic, and nothing you do is ever quite good enough. A small mistake at work feels like a catastrophe. This comes from an environment where love felt conditional, where you were praised for what you did, not for who you were. Your inner child is still on that treadmill, trying to perform perfectly to finally earn that unconditional love. Number 9, you have a major struggle with boundaries. Saying no, putting yourself first, or taking time for yourself fills you with an overwhelming sense of guilt. You feel selfish for having needs. That's because your inner child was likely taught that their needs were an inconvenience to others. Setting a boundary feels like you're being bad or difficult, so you continue to let others cross your lines, leaving you feeling resentful, drained, and unseen. And the 10th behavioral sign is that you often play the victim. You might find yourself stuck in a narrative where life is always happening to you, not for you. You feel powerless, believing that external circumstances and other people control your destiny. This mindset often comes from a childhood where you truly were powerless. Your inner child hasn't yet learned that as an adult. You have agency. You have choices. You can be the author of your own story, not just a character in someone else's. Next, let us look at how a wounded inner child shows up in your relationships and connection to yourself. Sign number 11. You find yourself drawn to emotionally unavailable people. You chase partners who are distant, inconsistent, or unable to commit. On a conscious level, it's frustrating. But on a subconscious level, it feels familiar. It mirrors the emotional dynamic you had with a primary caregiver. Your inner child is trying to resolve the old story by finally winning the love of someone who can't give it. Sign number 12 is a profound fear of intimacy. You might crave connection, but when someone gets too close, you put up walls. You might keep conversations on the surface, avoid sharing your true feelings, or find reasons to end the relationship. True intimacy requires vulnerability, and for a child who is hurt, being truly seen feels terrifyingly unsafe. The walls you built are there to protect that vulnerable child from getting hurt again. Number 13. You repeat old family dynamics. You might find yourself treating your partner the way one of your parents treated the other. Or you might find yourself behaving with your partner exactly how a parent behaved with you, perhaps being critical, controlling, or distant. Alternatively, you might try to be the exact opposite, but it's still a reaction to the past. You're unconsciously replaying these patterns because they are the only blueprint for relationships your inner child knows. The 14th sign is that you've lost touch with your sense of joy and play. When was the last time you did something just for fun, with no goal or purpose? When did you last laugh until your stomach hurt, get lost in a creative project, or just be silly? A wounded inner child often grows up too fast. The adult becomes overly serious and responsible, forgetting that play, creativity, and spontaneous joy are essential parts of being human. That sense of wonder gets buried under layers of responsibility and fear. And finally, the 15th sign is carrying a harsh, relentless inner critic. There's a constant voice in your head that judges your every move, tells you you're not enough, and replays your mistakes over and over. This voice is often the internalized voice of a critical parent, teacher, or society. As a defense mechanism your inner child developed to try to correct your flaws before anyone else could, in an attempt to avoid external criticism or rejection. But now that voice is the primary source of your pain. If you resonated with many of these signs, please hear this. You are not broken. You are not flawed. You are a whole person carrying a part of you that is still waiting to feel safe, to feel seen, and to feel unconditionally loved. Healing your inner child is not about erasing the past. It's about learning to reparent yourself with the compassion, patience, and love you always deserved. The journey starts with a simple acknowledgement. It starts by turning inward and saying to that little one inside, I see you. I hear you. I know you're scared and you have every right to be. But you're not alone anymore. You're safe with me now. This is the beginning of building a new, secure attachment with yourself. Thank you so much for sharing this space with me today. If this resonated, please let me know in the comments. Your story matters. And if you do like to see more content on how to actively heal and connect with your inner child, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. You are worthy of healing. You are worthy of joy. See you in the next video.